it up somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. So whatever my mind can see, that I will achieve. Because I do the things I should, between my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, I won't stop till I reach the top. When you hear that music, you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis and all the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Talk family in the Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to zizonline.com, all who are on the World Wide Web. I know that some of you are in Africa. There's some of you in Asia. There are some of you in Europe. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can't say good morning, and I'm at liberty as well to say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And most of us are in a common disposition in that we are either locked down because of COVID, we are restricted because of COVID, and we are bound by many similar protocols just because of this unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. I'm a little tired tonight. I do apologize for my tardiness. Nonetheless, it's always good to be with you as well. And I want from the onset to, first of all, extend condolences. It was an oversight on my last program that I did not extend condolences on the passing of my former neighbor, Dolores Gums. Yes, we were neighbors there on the Bay Road. She lived just behind us to the alley. So my condolences are extended to Judith, Alfred, the entire Gums clan, Mockers, and Jamila, and the entire family as well. I have heard from my dear brother as well, Jabu, in a long time. That's Jason, and as well as Keith Kayama Gums. How are you doing, my brother? If you're listening some part in the world, I know you're or in Asia, and in recent times. I also want to extend condolences on the passing of Glenford Guns from over there in Frigate Bay. His wife and daughter and his entire family. Extend my own profound sympathy on his passing. Is also Winston Lake. Condolences to his sisters, his brothers, and the entire Lake family. And my good friend Tubal, yes, Rash Tubal from over there in Knocknight. May his soul as well rest in eternal peace. And my Stray Dog family, I'm saddened. I'm really saddened tonight for many other reasons besides the passing of so many people that I know so well. But I can comfort myself and perhaps give words of comfort in that I am aware that death is a process. But I'm also saddened by what's happening in my country as it relates to the COVID-19 situation. Because just in the last 24 hours, it's my understanding that some 10 new confirmed cases were identified, bringing the total number of cases now in St. Kitts to 439, of which 309 are active. The number of cases on St. Kitts identified so far, 424, and 15 on Nevis. There's some good news in that the negative results show some 20,681 persons were tested and proven to be negative. But sadly, 3 of those persons who contracted this dreadful disease have gone to the great beyond. And this is in context of the entire world, where some 180,817,269 confirmed cases to date. Some 166 million have recovered. That's not bad. But sadly, we've had over 3.9 million deaths worldwide. It's good news as well that our vaccination program, or the roll up your sleeves and vaccinate program as it is labeled, seem to be going in the right direction, in that some 30,386 doses have been already administered as of today, 20th June 2021. Some 9,059 doses have been administered on St. Kitts, or rather that should be on Nevis. Let me get that right. The total amount of doses administered to date is in fact 39,445 adult persons have been or have received their dose or doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Some 30,386 on St. Kitts and 9,059 on Nevis. A total of some 16,683 persons have been fully vaccinated. So in terms of the population percentage to date, we know we are striving to get herd immunity, which is 70% of the adult population. As of today, Monday the 21st, some 68.9%, let's get that to the areas, 69% of the adult population have in fact received their first dose of the vaccine. And 50.5% of our people have received the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. So I want to continue to encourage our people to get vaccinated. It's one protection, one tool that we can use to, in fact, protect us against this death. Protect us against this dreadful virus, I should say, my straight talk family. And today, in St. Kitts as well, I listened to parts of the emergency sitting in Parliament in St. Kitts. And truth be told, I was saddened not only by the behavior of the Right Honorable Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition, as the Federation and the world seem to have come to expect nothing better from this 32-year-old parliamentarian who it was described before as having turned the parliament into a useless instrument. We remember this, my Stray Dog family.
It's setting a very bad precedent for governance, and it's really making Parliament a useless instrument. I think that's terrible.
Although that's terrible, though, there is some hope. Because when I look at the performance of the women in Parliament today, and I dare say on both sides of the House, the eloquence of Senator Wendy Phipps, so too the eloquence of Dr. Bernice Nisbet and the Minister of Health, Akila Nisbet Byron. And please don't chop my head off. You know, Joya Clark, she delivers well. She just has to get this Douglasitis out of her, and she'll be such a good parliamentarian. She delivers well. She comes across as being highly intelligent, and as I said, she just have to keep her calm and keep focused and stop attacking your minister, irrespective of whether you're on the other side of the parliament. Because whether you like it or not, the member from number 2 is the Minister of Education, and you ought to respect that even in the parliament, because you never burn the bridge you cross, Dr. Clark. So I'm really pleased with the performance of all the women in Parliament today. I say that without fear of contradiction, and that is my story, and I'm going to be locked into that. The women in Parliament gives us hope as a country, gives us quite a lot of hope. I, however, must place on record that some things went down that saddened me. But first of all, for those of you who may not have listened to the Parliament today, this is what Speaker Perkins explained in terms of the raison d'etre, the reason for this emergency sitting today. Here's what Speaker Perkins said.
Messages from the Governor General.
No messages from His Excellency the Governor General.
Announcements by the Speaker.
I have just one brief announcement, and it relates to here. Just a few days ago, I was contacted by the executive branch of government indicating the need to have a sitting of Parliament. We all would be aware that as notice for a sitting for this coming Thursday was already given. And so, in saying that, this meeting this morning has nothing to do with the meeting that is scheduled for this coming Thursday. This is in fact an emergency sitting of this National Assembly. An emergency sitting comes out, or we are guided by an emergency sitting based on section 3-3 of the standing orders of this National Assembly, where it states that whenever the Speaker is of the opinion that there is need for an emergency sitting of Parliament, he has that authority to issue such a notice. And so that's why we're here. Having had that discussion with the executive, I was of the view that it warrants an emergency sitting of Parliament, and I'm advised it is to discuss a matter to do with the state of emergency. And so, honourable members, thus the reason for all being here this morning. That's
so the reason explained by Speaker Perkins as it relates to the state of emergency and what is required by the Parliament. And again, the Speaker as well outlined the resolution, or he spoke to what is called the prayer to this resolution, or of this resolution.
Thank you. Thank you, the Honourable Mover of the resolution dealing with this matter of an extension to the state of emergency. The resolution was read in full to the Parliament earlier today, and so I will simply put the question, but in doing so I will simply read into the records the prayer of the resolution, that is the resolution itself, which states, "Now therefore be it hereby resolved by this National Assembly that it is necessary to extend the state of emergency up to the 31st day of December 2021 to take effect from the 7th day of July 2021 to combat the threat of the COVID-19 virus to the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis." Those in favor of that resolution?
Yes, it was to combat the threat of this COVID-19 pandemic. And Prime Minister Harris spoke to the unpatriotism of those on the opposite benches. And perhaps we may not have liked it, but the truth sometimes become uncomfortable to those who listen to it. But the truth is the truth.
To protect everyone in their community and in our country. Every health expert, Mr. Speaker, and every health academic, every practitioner, every nurse, and every doctor, Mr. Speaker, will all agree that immunization is the most effective way that we can deal with COVID-19. And that is why there is strong support, such committed support, such dedicated support for the government's vaccination program among the health community. I pause to thank every doctor. I gather 98% of them have moved forward and have become vaccinated. I want to thank every nurse, especially they in the communities who are going beyond the call of duty during Monday to Friday work hours and beyond on Saturdays and this weekend and Sunday to ensure that the vaccination program continues to roll out successfully and strong. We are nearing the critical benchmark in our vaccination program. We have one of the best rollout of vaccination programs in the hemisphere, and we are indeed proud of our health people and all those who have been helpful in ensuring that we could achieve this critical milestone. I want to remember the retired nurses who came back out to serve their country and to ensure, by and large, that they make a contribution at this critical time. Mr. Speaker, I said most doctors are 98% of them, because really the only doctors we know in the country who do not support community immunization program sit in the Labour Party. At no stage, Mr. Speaker, truth be told, has the Labour Party supported publicly the community immunization program. They have made no serious effort to encourage people to be vaccinated. They engage in a sad old dance of being neither for nor against vaccination. They engage in the fallacy that you should wait a vaccine that is not WHO approved, not available here, while the one here is due to expire, Mr. Speaker. That is what we have had. The Labour Party has shown no serious support for the community immunization program against COVID-19.
And that is true. And that was even demonstrated today in the Parliament. It was sad when I saw the representative from number 1 on a very important tool to ensure that we curb the further spread of this virus through these emergency measures. He had an opportunity to vote his conscience and vote for the people of East Bastille who sent him there. And what he did, he abstained. He abstained and he left the Parliament with his misleader. My family, my people, you needed 2/3 of those present and voting. And that was never in doubt. Never in doubt.
Those in favor of that resolution? Those against? Honourable members, this type of resolution,
just some clarification. Usually, a division is called for when there is uncertainty as to whether the motion is supported or not supported. To call for a division when I heard very clearly myself the ayes and what this division.
Mr. Speaker. Honourable member for number 6.
People are going to be playing politics.
Honourable member for number 6. May I advise you that I was not relying on the call for a division. I was about to refer to the section of the Constitution which requires on such a resolution that it must be supported by 2/3 of all members here. And so the only way of this Honourable House knowing or ascertaining that we have 2/3 vote is to ask, which I will do now, the clerk to do a roll and get the vote of each member. Madam Clerk.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 1, how do you vote? Honourable Member for St. Christopher 1, how do you vote?
Let them know you vote and you disrespected the Parliament.
You can do whatever you feel like.
Continue to vote.
You disrespect the Parliament.
Abstain, okay.
Abstain.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 2, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 3, how do you vote? Aye. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 5, how do you vote?
You missed 4.
Sorry, apologies. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 4, how do you vote? Honourable Member for St. Christopher 5, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 6 has exited the Parliament. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 7.
Aye, loudly so.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 8.
Aye.
Nevis, Honourable Member for Nevis 9, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for Nevis 10, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for Honourable Attorney General, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Senator Wendy Phipps, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Senator Dr. Bernice Elizabeth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member Opposition Senator Dr. Clark has exited the Parliament as well. So we have. Oh.
Aye.
Okay. Oh, so we have 12 ayes, Honourable Speaker, 1 abstention, and 2 members were absent when the division was done.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
12 ayes. 2 exited the Parliament. In fact, there were 3 who exited the Parliament, 3 from the opposition benches. But 1 registered his abstention before he left. The people of East Bastia sent this man to Parliament, but he walks from the Parliament. He absconds from the Parliament without voting for the people of East Bastia. And that has saddened me, my family, because we are going through a pandemic. We are going through a crisis. People have no money, no food, and perhaps are doubting the future. There is a future, though, although some may say they have no future. But out of every challenge, out of every crisis, I believe comes opportunities. I was happy to learn that a new stimulus package is being contemplated by the cabinet. And I'm sure we'll see some stimulus checks coming from the cabinet. If I know my good friend and Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, I'm sure we'll look at the costs of importing food as one good thing. The vessels, cargo vessels are still coming, so food will be there. But there must be some resolution to the problem, and we needed everybody on board today. Sadly, that was not so. But I got a bright spark within my heart and my mind. And that spark was ignited by the representation of the 4 women in Parliament. As I said before, Dr. Joya Clark, she has poise, she has confidence, but she has to choose another role model. I know you're from St. Paul's, but your role model does not have to be a Douglas. I like Dr. Bernice Nisbet. She has future. Wendy Phipps, the Honorable Senator Wendy Phipps, she too. She's accomplished, well known, well, quite eloquent speaker as well. And Minister, the Honorable Akila Nisbet Byron, I can look for great things from her in the future. So as women in Parliament, they have given me some hope that all is not lost. Douglas is on his way out. My Straight Dog family, again, I'm disappointed with the lack of representation in the parliament by that man who was sent by the people of number one. Number one, you have no representation. And I understand how my people feel, because I am feeling saddened by the lack of representation. You know me, and I know you. That is my story tonight, and I am going to stick. I'm going to be locked in to my story. It's 23 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. I want to hear from you. I won't tarry much longer, because today is a day in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis when a black mark, a stain, continues to be on the opposition. We are in a crisis. Everybody needs to be on board. The politicking has to stop. My family, now is the time to get together. And I said, that's my story. I am going to be locked into it. I want to hear your story. So I'll open the lines. I'll entertain your calls and your emails. The numbers are 465-2555 and or 718-577-2916. I always like to implore you to respect others, and of course to achieve that you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 22 before 9, I go to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Good night, Patches. Good night.
Hello, caller.
Patches, good night. Hello.
Hey there, caller.
Patches, good night. Hello.
I have someone on the line.
Yeah, Patches, good night.
Just speak up, caller.
Good night, Patches. Good night. Yeah, Patches.
Okay, it's 8:39. Yes, caller. You are live.
Yeah, Patches, good night. Hello. Patches, good night. Yeah, Patches, good night. Yeah, this is Mr. Politics here. And I want to thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, where God has blessed us so good, in spite of the COVID, in spite of what's going on, that we can still find something to eat, still go to the supermarket, go shop, and do most and many things still, Patches. We ain't out of the woods with this COVID. And I just calling on the people of this Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to just stop, look and listen. Because Patches, I in this world from since 1961. And I never expect nothing like this. In the world, a COVID will come and plague us, Patches. And
seem to be having.
when I look, Patches, are there? When I look and see that the situation of the world population dying out with this COVID, coronavirus, killing, people got to lock down and all those things. And when it affects us here first, Patches, you know, the CMO and the task force, they was front in this line of this COVID. We never had no community spread. Well, Dr. Wilkinson was saying all the time, as long as the country open up, we're going to expect community spread. Patches. And Patches, I will enable to see that we go in a house to debate with the opposition, who a leader was for 20 years in opposition, Patches, and act and behave in that behavior in this point of this COVID situation. I thought they would come with something different. But Patches, you know that in this country of us, we are God preparing people, and I know that the people listening to them, whether the supporters or not. I saw some of them the supporters them shame at what happened today. Because this COVID is affecting everyone. And Patches, before I go, I just want to tell the people of St. Kitts Nevis, have hope. We're in far gone. We're going to get over this. In this next 14 days, I believe that they will get all the contact trace and find each and every one who got this COVID and slow up the process.
Caller, you're live.
Good night.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Hello?
You go right ahead. Someone on the line.
Yeah, Patrick, good night.
Just speak and call.
Okay. Good evening, Honorable Patches Liburd, my representative from East Bastille. Well, tell you the honest truth. With what the leader for the opposition do today, ain't no surprise to neither me or you. That is his kind of behavior. What make me feel shame is when I see the young lady walking in the same footstep of Douglas and his other colleagues, them who couldn't even be in the house to see how he was going on. Now when you look around, not Insel Sam Kanda were there. None of them. Neither Marcelo, neither the Calypsonian one there. None of them. Not into the doctor from Monkey Hill. None of them were there to cheer him on or nothing. And he went on like a dirt bike. For a man who deal for 20 years or more as a prime minister and behave himself like that, it was shameful. But when I watch and I see my good friend Jeffrey is not the type of person. Jeffrey started up in a good lane, and he was batting good, and he was going down good. But I got a feeling why he abstained, he was either scared or shame. One out of the two. That's why he abstained from voting. You understand me? I think he was either scared or shame why he abstained from voting. Because he cannot believe to himself, you know, that this man went in the house and behaved. So if you notice, Jeffrey was right behind him, you know. And every minute Jeffrey watching up to wondering, well, but what's really going on here? I'm in the wrong place. You understand me? And before he tried to make Jeffrey proud of himself in there, he continued with the ignorance. And the young lady, I surprised because Mr. Clark is a good man. And he have a beautiful daughter, but she go in the wrong direction. And as I think she's a teacher, they say, or something like that. And the kind of language and broken language what she was speaking in there, like she was in a fish market, and she in the back of a shop or something. I don't think that's good for government. That's all I have to say for now. God bless the parties and God bless the Prime Minister and the Cabinet and everybody. And all you continue the good work and think it, we shall overcome. You could bet your life that.
Well, I cannot hear, just can't believe what is happening in St. Kitts. But I know you are all right, and just keep the faith. Keep the faith. We ain't ready for another election yet, but it will come, and you're going to get back your feet. Just keep the faith. And this is a song I have to for St. Kitts. God is still on the throne, and he will remember his own. He promised never to leave us, never to leave us alone. God is still on the throne. He promised never to leave us. He will never leave us alone. We'll be back. St. Kitts will be back.
Yes, we need to get a band in a house band when we have that lovely singing. I'm now hearing the calls, Alva. I'll go back to the lines. Call your line.
Good evening, Patches.
Good evening, my brother.
How are you?
I am peaceful, man. What about you? Always good to hear you.
Well, I am in first slip, so I'm good enough.
First slip. Good.
Yeah, good enough. Like you?
The ball will fly fast for slip, you know.
Like you.
Are they bowling fast?
I know that. I'm good in first slip, man. Like you, I want to send my sympathy out to those people, especially from East and Cairn side over there, and the whole federation. My sympathy to all who lost loved ones and friends. We all have to go someday. Good night, Janet. Good night, SK Queen. Patches, now, today, the behavior of the leader of the opposition in Parliament, just like Rock, that didn't surprise me too much, you know. But when you're a child, you act as a child. When you became a man, you act as a man. You're going to tell me a man like the leader, 68 years old, 68, not 28 or 38. In spite of he tell you all, he bad since he born. What do you mean to tell me? He ain't decide to change? He's a man, put away childish things. The woman, all the ladies in Parliament today make him look like a little boy. A little boy through the alley pitching marble, and he can't pitch. Look how nice all of them ladies deliver themselves in Parliament. And he, as a seasoned, experienced parliamentarian, still with what you call it? The donkey behavior, no respect for the speaker, no respect for nobody when they're on the floor. Yes, you must have your crosstalk, but his crosstalk is over the person on the floor voice. And when the speaker saying order, he talking way harder than the speaker. The speaker supposed to make him understand, I am in charge of in here. When I say order, it's order. But he talking over the speaker, so the speaker have to pull up his socks on that. Regardless to who. When you stand up, all man on the floor sit and hush. Now he gone in there today, go, just like a dog weighing on a tail. He put him back his head behind the bum, trying to bite what he ain't got. He accusing the Prime Minister, the decent Prime Minister that we have here, of incompetence, and the Attorney General incompetence. And he want to accuse the Prime Minister about severance pay for people. I learned something. When he forget the 7 years, when he ain't pay constant measure pension, and the 7 years when he ain't pay Dr. Simmons the pension, what happened to them there? Them they shorter than the year and some weeks now, we're talking about severance pay for people. You must set example here, the leader of his party. And he going in there to tell all them load of lies from Dr. Harris and the others in there. What message is sending to the people them who send him in there? And before I go, because I don't come again, that is, I want to give the AG A lot of kudos tonight here. He stand up look, in the ring, look, Sonny Liston and Mike Tyson. He bat well, and he plays the blows them perfect, and he knock him out of the ring. So I want to give kudos to the AG. I'll come back, Patches, because I have something big on somebody who woke up the hospital. They're not supposed to be up there working. I'm coming back with he, because he's a danger to the hospital with what he said on Facebook. I'll be back. Thank you so long.
Okay, thank you. Let's be kind and gentle though. When you come back, let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Good night, Patrick. This is Dumpling.
How is Lydia?
I am
Dumpling
fine.
Matters?
Patrick, today I was listening the House Assembly, right? And the going down the Prime Minister, short, and the Attorney General talking about redundant money, right? I know it's a people who work scantel. 1998 and 1999, 2000 come up, they ain't get the money. It's a certain liar right now trying for them to get the redundant money. And only one person who work cable and wireless and scantel get the redundant money because I was with them. But men who work there longer than he, up to now, they can't get the money. They're fighting to get the money. People in St. Kitts, people in Nevis want the money. And money was there. Money was there to pay the people, give the people them the redundant money. All kind of people, Antigua, get with money and all. And people who work hard here, poor men who had a children, grandchildren, ain't get the redundant money. And they want to blame the government. But Lord, the people ain't getting redundant money. Man, I will feel shame with them when I hear them talking that. And I know that these men was fighting for the redundant money. Even he had a man from Old Road, the name Rudy. Rudy take it on to hard. The Rudy sugar and all went up. Rudy in a poorhouse. Ain't get nothing at all. Turn blind. And what can't tell. Cable and wireless pull more dig my hole in the road and all them kind of thing. Climb and tan thing with me sweetheart and ain't get nothing. He could have done give the people them the money. He could have done give them the redundant money. He ain't give them and then had the heart in the House Assembly talking about people hungry. The time we were 1996. When I was working cable and wire, working electric light department, had 2 children in school, one in Harrison school and one in high school. And then when you look, he sees it, Mr. Limo carry me across government headquarters, and he said, hey, want me in deal. The last election he won, when that case, my son met him and said, man, my mother said, yeah, do I bad in you, bad, you know, but do I give me a job to clean down the garden? And he tell Toyo he can pay me from NAC. And he ain't give me the money. He ain't give me the money. When they had the election, my son attack him. He either give me, he tell Toyo $300 a week. He give me some, either $200 or some kind of money in the end week, $300. And to book him. I just tell him, I just keep that, you see? 3 months, man gonna pay. And
Got you, Dumpling.
People hungry? People hungry? I get end up a houseless. Don't cut me off, Patrick. And abuse me the same.
Yeah, but why not for me? Why not for me?
I went to Timothy. When Timothy was in the party, Timothy told me take it cool. They had this woman from down there working up in there. That is don't cut me off. And she used to come and pick.
Yeah, but why not, Dumpling? Why not?
choose to come pick up rent.
Hello?
And when you look, you know what the dummy patches? That's the own book. And then when Timothy them win now, I carry me know the receipt. The woman up there say, but this saying in here, I had nothing more either 12 or 13 receipt in the computer. The woman who was the accountant, she can't understand that. Hamilton, sung by Miss Dublin, and still up NAC. And then the woman up there tell me, Miss Dublin got $900 for your coffee. I said, me ain't going for none of that. Send me down here. Oh, this is dumpling.
Okay, Dumpling, got you. Let's try to keep, put some limits on these calls, especially the personal stories, because remember we're going across the world, right across the world, and many people don't understand. Let's keep focused. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
It's a pleasant good evening to
Yes,
you.
caller.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm good. But is I want to know
like
if they don't
dimples.
send out the memo that the parliamentarian then can get it early from Hender. Those clouds and go drink rum before they're ready to enter in the parliament, because today you could see that the junk. And to the ages, you hear how that clown there went on in the parliament today and saying how you are competent. He have a right to say that, because that man, they got over 200 cases in this country here. And what you mean to tell me? You can get one out of them 200 cases solved? Everything I come off the track, sir? Well, I think you need to go get somebody to widen the track from Hender. Every case that you pick up for him, drop off the track, is stand up. Too much now, man. Even the passport, what the man they say he not got an end up have. And when you look, the man they come in guilty and still in the parliament in the today, I go on like a junket sailor. Come on. Eddie, I think it's time now to see if you go get the track widened and get that man there to compare some of them cases what he got, and do not let all of them run off the track. Have a pleasant night, Patrice.
Have a pleasant night as well. I thought the bars were closed in St. Kitts, though. Perhaps he's drinking at home. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live.
Yeah, pleasant good night, Brother Patches. This is Rascalonji. I mean, you see what I've been telling you, we're back at it again. You know what I'm saying? And my brother, I mean, what I saw in this assembly this morning was atrocious on both sides. I mean, let me read something to you here. By this apprenticeship, the colonial office was making sure that the education of local politicians was completed along British lines. You hear what I'm saying? And on British lines, and that they would look to Westminster as their model. This would ensure that Britain's influence in the colonies would continue long after the inevitable loosening of imperial ties. So you see how they set us up? And we're still going for the setup. What I'm saying to you, my brothers and sisters, that we have to come up with something new. This thing is not working. This colonial political system is bankrupt. We could see it. You're going to tell me we are not responsible for this virus. There's nowhere on the face of the earth nobody could say we're responsible for the virus. And you're going to tell me that our people, our so-called leadership, can't come together and come up with one position? Man, look here. This thing has to be dealt with by the people. I mean, when you look at what is happening in our country, this is verbal warfare.
And then we criticize countries in Africa, how they're killing one another. We're killing each other verbally. And what I'm saying to our people who have said that here, is the same system you have in Africa. They had British colonies in Africa. It's the same trap that they put us in. That we can't come together to solve a problem where you have a pandemic that could kill all of us. All of us is in the same boat. And I'd just like to say something here from the Nguzo Saba, one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Umoja means unity. To strive for and maintain unity in the family, the community, nation, and race. Umoja means staying together. You're going to tell me that's something we are not responsible for. The United States government is the one who brings this virus into being. And we here fighting amongst ourselves. We got to come up with something different, my brother. This thing can't work. It's not in our interest. And I'm saying to our people, if you're not working for African liberation that deals with African people's interests, then you're with the enemy. It's as simple as that. There's no in-between anymore. Our people got to wake up, man. I'm done with this foolishness. Both sides have done things to people. So I don't understand. I'm saying to you, we are calling for a political ceasefire. If this leadership and the politicians don't want to come to a political ceasefire, then the African consciousness movement will have to lead our people to the promised land. And don't forget this, what Granny say. Plant weed, what Granny say. Buy local, what Granny say. Support your own, what Granny say. Develop your own vaccines, more pandemic is coming. Stop fighting each other. So I leave you with that, my brother. What we desire is the unification of African people, not only here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, but globally. Give thanks, one love.
Thank you, Ras Kalundri. A lot of people talk about reconciliation, but you can't reconcile things if we can't accept the truth. That's one of the impediments. But go back to the lines. Caller, you are live.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen Nzenga. Blessed evening, my beloved African, but over you, the family.
I am peaceful, my good Rast brother. You and yours?
Yes, good man, we're good. Everything is good, man. With me and the clan, you know. Brother Ascalonzi, brother, you know, and I agree with you, the system that we inherit from our dung pressers, I've been calling for throw that out the window. That's why I've been calling for St. Kitts and Nevis, not just St. Kitts and Nevis, but we're dealing with St. Kitts and Nevis now, to become a republic with an executive president and a Congress, and get out of these neo-colonialistic organizations like the so-called British Commonwealth. That's colonialism. And, brother, the only solution, because, let me say, all of these parties, even the one I still support to some extent, which I'm getting sick and fed up, a certain individual inside there. But that's for another time. All of them, neo-colonialistic mentality, everything is them, it's neo-colonialistic. That's why, beloved brother Kalonji, we the Pan-Africanist, man, in St. Kitts Nevis and those abroad, we must form a Pan-African political movement, beloved. We must do that. We can't be saying, oh, this and that and thing. We must have a solution. If we point out our problem, we must have a solution to that problem, are those problems, beloved. So, my beloved, are you ready? All the Pan-Africanist sisters and brothers in the Federation ready for Pan-African liberation movement in St. Kitts Nevis, political, beloved. That's going to be our only thing. And he got to bear some Pan-Africanism to the bone. And no apologies to anyone. And he must be 100% African. No other race, beloved. We got to solve our own problems ourselves. And no European solution can never and will never solve African people's problem. Can't work, will never work. Only Pan-Africanism can save us as a people. Nothing else. Nothing else, my beloved brother. So, brother, you know my number. I could call you and we start working on that, man. You know, because this back and forth and this and that, and you're only going to keep us down as a people. Our liberation will never come soon with this kind of nonsense, man, and these neo-colonials that we have in St. Kitts Nevis and throughout the world, my beloved. But I now said a lot, and I got to say some more, but you never get back in.
Yes.
I will continue, beloved brother. Thanks again for hearing me. Pan-Africanism our perish. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my brother. But the key to all of these solutions lies, as Ras Kalunji said, with the people. We talk about a government of the people, for and by the people, so the people will have to decide. At 9:08, I go back to the lines. Caller, you are live.
A pleasant good evening, Patrice. Marsha here.
Marsha Lewis, haven't heard you for a long time.
Patrice, I just want to say I'm very pleased in the way how the Prime Minister is rolling the ship. You know, Saturday when I saw a picture of the Prime Minister at the health center, water come to my eyes. Because, Patrice, this man is pushing this vaccine. He's pushing that we could reach the threshold. And I want to commend my Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, for the work he's doing. And if I could describe him for the world tonight, I can describe him as he's a caring Prime Minister, a loving Prime Minister, and he loved the people of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The Prime Minister worked from Monday to Sunday. I would sometimes just want to know if he don't tired. This man goes round and round and back and forth. And I think that some of those politicians, I know some of them will vex with me. I think they should go on out and push the vaccine that we could reach the threshold. I also want to thank Dr. Laws and Dr. Cameron Wilson and the other. They are doing a tremendous job in keeping the Federation safe. In spite of we had 3 deaths, we are still lucky here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, because if you listen to the news, overseas we have thousands of deaths, millions of deaths all over the place. But we thank God we only have 3 deaths. And I also want to say, Patrice, you are doing a tremendous job by hosting this show Monday and Thursday, and I want to congratulate you because you are a hard-working minister. You work very hard to keep us updated. Patrice, you have a good night and keep safe as I am keeping myself safe. And long live Prime Minister Harris, and long live the People's Labour Party. Patrice, you have a blessed night and you get home safe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much as well. Marsha, always straightforward and to the point. And you made a comment there just now. Could you imagine Douglas calling someone incompetent?
And I thought to myself, how
Led
could
by
a man
you, in particular
that
you.
back up an entire country for the first time in its history took it into the clutches of the IMF, accused anyone of being incompetent. And I thought, incompetence? How dare him? How dare he, Mr. Speaker? And I remembered, like the rest of the country, that incompetence was in the Ministry of National Security, because under his watch, homicide reached its highest level. Highest level. We became the murder capital of the entire world. That was incompetence, Mr. Speaker. And if you want a more graphic example of incompetence, 3 minutes walk from where he lived on Main Road in St. Paul's, at least one of his residences. Not sure if he lives there, but one of his residences on the Main Road, you will find the St. Paul's police station. And that police station was allowed to go to the dogs.
Yes, went to the dogs. That's incompetence. It's 9:12. I go straight back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your line.
Yeah, Patches. Good night again.
Yes, Mr. Politics.
I don't want to forget.
Sorry, I missed you.
I don't want to forget you. Good. I was talking back to myself when I talked to the phone. When I called in first, I was talking back.
Yes.
The feedback was coming to me, and he was training me up. I don't want to forget you. To anybody get to hear what I say?
Well, I'm happy you got back. You're back.
Yeah.
So,
oh, you hear what I say? Yeah. Okay. Patches here. Okay.
Quite clearly. But go
you
ahead.
hear me now, right?
Yes,
yeah,
I know.
I hear you now. Okay. Patches. From 2015. The people went to the poll and they elect a unity government. I will always say that. And that unity government has served the people well for the 5 years. 2020, they come back and went to the poll, and the people went to the poll again and walked back in for this unity government. The people have no choice because of the unity government performance with the leadership of Dr. Harris. And everybody know what was going on under the farmer regime. Patrick, I don't care what anybody going to say. We all a citizen, we all live here. We are surrounded by one another here. And it matters that we know who bad from who good. And Patrick, when I listened to the Prime Minister, when he was, I think it was either Friday or Saturday, when he was making the announcement for closing down the country, he said that who in the line and they can't get in the crowd and the crowd thing, don't rush to go in the line, don't rush to go in. Go home. You know? Go home. So look, I mean, use what you have home, use what you have. And Patrick, they could go and shop, they could shop home where they live too. Because you can shop in the community where they live. So that's the comment the Prime Minister was making. They open the talk about the Prime Minister and any place, but people hungry, and he might think Prime Minister is a Prime Minister that. Patches, but can't to bother Kalonji, we got to put away the tribal, foolish politics, you know. He ain't gonna take us anywhere. We got to come together as one and help one another. Patches, we in a world pandemic. And because sometimes we go on and tell people must go take the vaccine, a lot of people work with me. Some people want to attack me, like politically. Some people want to attack me physically. But Patrick, I telling them, you know, the vaccine ain't going to do them nothing because they ain't going to take it. But as long as they touch me, they might get from me with the vaccine ain't going to do with them. Because I ain't play with none of them. I serious about my country. My country come first over anything else. I ain't got nowhere to go, Patrick. I ain't got nowhere to live. I got my animals. If I'm still young, coming up as a young man, I got animals all the time. And me not got nobody country to go live to and leave my animal them. That is what give me, that is what give me daily bread. And Patrick, I just want to uplift the people and stop looking and listen again. You see what opposition we got. All the court is talk about opposition. See the opposition we got, but come together with the opposition. Look, the opposition walk out for a bill, an important bill, to save the people and save the country. They walk out the house. Total ignorance. Patrick, I don't even got to discuss with them because everybody knows that Douglas, the Labour Party done. Done. They have no place in St. Kitts again. What the people got to do? The unity government, Dr. Harris, Mark Brantley, and Sean Richard, all of them got to pull together, and because it's unity government, unity we say, and it's unity we want. So when the election comes, a unity again. Patrick, you have a wonderful night. May God bless the Federation, St. Kitts and Nevis. People, tap, look, and listen. All right.
Okay. And for those who have just joined me, we were actually reflecting upon the emergency session of Parliament today as it relates to the state of emergency that has been a constitution. There's some constitutional requirements that had to be met, and they were in fact met today. And there were some bright spots, even though we've had the normal, the characteristic behavior of the leader of the opposition. But there's some bright spots with the women represented in Parliament today. But don't lose sight of the fact as well that we are in a crisis. Let's understand. That's what Kalonji was saying. We all have to come together as a people. But let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
My money nearly done. I put on $27 and the money nearly done. Look at them that chat like they let all the government them. And plus at the market, look at the market, them everybody got all kind of one thing in the market. So in the market no good to the people them. You hear me? You got them a chat. Like they don't want nobody else calling. All kind of rubbish and all kind of rubbish. Douglas, what you say I got to say in the Parliament? You're going. See you.
That's what we call the Douglasitis. That's what we have. But let's go back to the lines, caller. You're live. Hello, caller?
Yeah, namesake.
My namesake. How about now?
Yes, good night. I'm here waiting patiently. You know, long I'm on the line, but anyhow, I just want to say, anybody that come back up what Douglas doing, they're 10 times worse than Douglas. Because don't tell me that you have children and grandchildren and going back up the kind of behavior at Denzel Douglas. All these years, every year, Douglas going to the Parliament, he behaved the same way. Some kind of bad boy. We don't want no bad boy, we want leaders, we want statesmen. We don't want no vagabond kind of washi. We need decent men of renown that somebody could look up to and adapt his lifestyle. I can adapt Denzel's lifestyle, his behavior, week after week, month after month. When he don't done with a badness, that can't take him nowhere. A badness got him in opposition, and he goes steady until the people realize that we need leaders. That's why they put him where he be. And until he understands that, he going forever remain on that side. No one say practice. I want to thank Dr. Lars and her team for the excellent job that they are doing with this pandemic. Because if we didn't change the government in 2015, woe be unto St. Kitts and Nevis if we had a pandemic underneath the opposition leader. Because trust me, that's the kind of behavior we'd have been have in this kind of pandemic. Woe be unto St. Kitts and Nevis. We'd have been falling down like flies. But thank God that the people had a vision, and we wanted a leader, and we get a leader. And a leader who knows how to manage, how to direct, and how to manage the ship of state, that we can have money even though we're not having any foreign income. The little that we have here, we know how to use it. And the country ship of state is running excellent. And I'm saying, if he left for me, Dr. Harris the next 5 years. So who not like that, me sorry for them. Whether the PAM not like it or I believe Dr. Harris deserves the next 5 years, and after that, I don't care who run it after. Because if they're not alone within that 3 terms, they can't loan again. God bless you. Have a good night.
God bless you as well. Interesting. You mentioned Washi Archibald, and may Washi's soul rest in peace. But here's what Washi said about that man.
See, a lot of people don't realize Douglas is a crazy man, you know. He's a madman. He's suffering from delusions of grandeur. And he's so lucky that he has a lot of educated people around him trying to promote this image for their own good, selfish reasons. You see, so he gets that he's some maximum leader in a country which, when he took it over, it was a prosperous country, and he put that country to the bottom of the list. He made our country into a poorhouse.
Yes, that was the late Washi Archibald. I was somewhat ambivalent when one of Win FM radio announcers, Devon Cornelius, stated that he has invited Dr. Douglas to come on his Voices program to be interviewed. Well, just what I had predicted happened. Devon did not ask Douglas the hard questions, and the reasons for that: he is a strong supporter of NRP and participating in NRP's choir singing, particularly at funerals. In fact, the last NRP funeral at the St. Paul's Anglican Church, a strong supporter, he brought with him the female radio talk show host of Island Tea, and she too joined in with the choir. I just want to say, Devon, that the interview was biased, unimpressive, without substance, and overwhelmed with packets of lies, reads that email. This other email reads, well, the fake news propagandas realize now that they're not making any positive impact on the citizens with their lies, misinformation, disinformation, and the fake news following their false news items that Dr. Laws had tendered her resignation. They feel so ashamed and embarrassed that they were now saying that the task force seemed tired and they need a break, and so they are willing to volunteer their services. I want to say to those propagandas that coaches have no call, or cockroaches have no call in Fall Cube, reads this email. The other email reads, I want to say to that labor woman in New York who called in to Freedom Radio and tried to diss the Prime Minister with her misinformation, woman, you're far out of touch. The Prime Minister is on the radio and TV constantly addressing the needs of the country and giving information and advice. It was erroneous for you to say that Harris has gone missing and nobody can hear from him, and it's deafening silence by him because he has not offered sympathy to the bereaved families in the passing of 3 COVID deaths. Woman, you're just like your leader, Douglas. Lie. For you don't know what you are saying. Harris was one of the first officials to publicly offer sympathy. You probably didn't realize that Sam and the other panelists were just laughing at you, making a public fool of yourself. For they knew what you were saying was wrong, and instead of correcting you, they made you the laughing stock. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, to be spreading false utterances, saying things that you don't have a clue about. And those are the words of the emailers, not necessarily the views of Straight Talk and other hosts of Straight Talk. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live at 9:24.
Yes, Patrice.
Yes. So.
Yeah, okay, I'm here again now.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to really highly commend Dr. Laws, Dr. Wilkerson, and the entire task force that we have educating us about the COVID-19. Now, Dr. Laws and Dr. Wilkerson, they are the two heads of the medical center, the biggest medical center in St. Kitts, Nevis, which is the Joseph and France General Hospital. They oversee everything that comes under health. Now, it is not right for the hospital to have an individual working up there in the hospital and gone on Facebook, cursing the doctors them, cursing the vaccine, telling people don't take no effing vaccine from them. They want to poison you, they want to kill you. It is not right for that to be. And that individual should not be working in the hospital, Patches. No, not until tonight here. If you hear the conduct of that individual on the Facebook, discouraging people and saying ill things about the doctors, they know what they're doing and all kind of thing. If you got to hear that and you play that on the radio, everybody mouth will stick open. But you will have to delete the bad word them on it. That is a dangerous person to be up at the health center. Suppose now the nurses them have to call on that individual to help them with a patient. Who knows that patient ain't have no vaccine to protect that patient's self. Absolutely no guard. So who knows what will happen to the patient if that individual have to go help the nurse with them. I am calling on the head department of the hospital to look into that affairs. It's on Facebook. And I hope everybody get it and read what he put on it. Now let me say this here. Team Unity is the government that is reaching out to people. They're asking out to people, but the opposition refuse. They refuse to come together as one. This is a national crisis. The Prime Minister calling on them on the other side, and they refuse. Look what happened in Parliament today. Before they sit down in there today and vote whether yes or no, they walk out. Is that coming together? Nobody could blame the Team Unity for today. We're causing separation. At them they're causing separation. When he gonna tell people that the vaccine what come from Dominica where he get his passport from, got in water? What are telling people? He telling people don't take none as a doctor and as a leader. He creating separation in the nation. He telling Team Unity doing it, and until he change his ways and his habit, his dirty, nasty, lying habit, the country ain't gonna get no better. Everybody willing to come together except he. Up to now, he ain't take no vaccine. And so he discouraging people. He has a right not to, and he has a right to take it if he wants. But he must not discourage people. Lead from in front and the right way. Because I think we're having too much intermission on the show with that joker who does calling and chatting nonsense. When you hear them coming out with you and you hear with them foolish that make no sense and make no information to people and enlighten people, just cut them. Have a good night, Patrick.
Everybody has a voice.
Thank you very much.
Straight up. Thank you. I want to say that everybody has a voice on Straight Up. We entertain all views. Remember, they will always be greater and or lesser. So let's not try to diss anyone, period. Caller, let's go back to the lines. You are live.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd.
Good evening, sir. How art thou?
I'm not bad at all, not bad at all. I heard you say that you admire the four ladies who were most outstanding today, but I admire the AG. The AG's performance was exemplary to today, because usually when he's in Parliament, he's quiet, he chooses his words, he speaks very slowly and deliberately, but Douglas brought out a new side of him today with Douglas and his stupidness. He got up and accused him in a sense of being incompetent, and with that, the AG let him have it, reminded him of a whole heap of things, and in a way, man, he went on to Ugofied, to put it in old-time terms. I've never heard the AG like that. He needs to practice that more often in Parliament. I was proud of him. He shows a different side of him. And there was no slow talk. I mean, the words just flowed. It came from his heart, not from his mind alone. That's one thing. The other thing I found in Parliament is a number of persons who I thought unfairly attacked Dr. Wilkinson. More than once, they accused him of all sorts of things which are so erroneous. And somehow or the other, I think they should find the time to apologize for the things that they've said about Dr. Wilkinson, or misquoted him, I must say. And last but not least, we know that the Labour Party and the people are a pack of propagandists, and over the weekend, Saturday to be exact, a photograph came out of down at the ferry terminal of a whole line of people, a lot of them with red bags and so, lining up. And the photograph says the person is going to Nevis to get out of St. Kitts because things rough in St. Kitts. They expected the shutdown and all kind of things like that, and they can't take it anymore. They're going to Nevis to live for the 2 weeks and that kind of thing. And nothing tall go like that. What happened is that the two ferries running. On Saturday, one ferry had in 4 people going up, another one had in about 12 going up to Nevis. Nothing like the crowd that they showed down there. And when the picture was analyzed thoroughly, it was a picture from 2 years ago that Labour put out to say it was last week, Saturday morning, people running Nevis getting out of St. Kitts. And it was so much so that I think it frightened the Port Authority people in Nevis. They have now stopped ferries from running between St. Kitts and Nevis. You can't go down by the ferry terminal and get a boat and go to Nevis anymore. They frightened off the Port Authority people in Nevis. Unfortunately, the people in Nevis, the Port Authority people, they did not look at the signage on the building down at the ferry terminal to realize that the signage had changed since your time. They had a whole sign down there saying Nevis Ferry Terminal. I think during your time they changed the sign to Scaspa or something. St. Nevis, St. Christopher Port Authority or something of the sort like that. But the signage had changed. And they put up this old picture. The old idiots who put it up did not realize that they were betraying themselves. But it looks as though it was a picture of Labour people going to Nevis many years ago with a lot of red bags and all kind of things. And they used that as propaganda to fool our people and frighten our people in Nevis that people are saying it's Nevis coming here to bring virus over here. Have a good night, Patches.
Have a good night as well. And let's not lose sight of the fact that just yesterday, in the last 24 hours, we've had 10 more confirmed cases, bringing the total number of cases now to 439, 309 of which are active cases. We still have number of cases on Nevis, 15, and 424 on St. Kitts, and God forbid, we still have 3 deaths. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line. Yes, caller?
Hello, good night.
Yes.
Could you hear me?
Sounds like Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, I was not going to call back in because you're the only person on your program don't know what I'm saying. But then, what culture just called to tell you? He's so right, because somebody called me on my phone and put their phone to me ear, for me to hear the same person at the hospital, what they were saying. And it sounds too bad, and he should not say so. That is bad. And he is the only person get everything from the same minister. And the minister not looking out for the same the people them, but they look after he. And he shouldn't come out get on like that. Okay, see you, good night. And with you callers, I mean you just say that people entitled to things. But if she's so low, she ex-prime minister. Why she not go on the program go talk instead of come on your radio your program come say that. See you, good night.
Good night, my dear caller. Let's go back to the lines. Call your line.
Good night, Patches.
Good night.
Alice, you're so right. Patches, I listened to that worker up there in France here, and it's very damaging. And me hear Jam down calling and Wilkerson, and the powers they took a meeting in the Calbourne. He hold the place. That is degrading the hospital where we got. He hold the order. Patches, I meet a group of young ladies who work at the port. And you know you had an outbreak up there where some of them was in the quarantine. And the finance controller up there must not do that. And the sleeping manager up there, they must not do that to poor people. Because they fully well know that these people went into quarantine. And the Prime Minister program, Ms. Ross, make it clear that these people must get the pay. What they're trying to do, sabotage the people, it's poor people. One fellow coming on the circus telling us that he only got $400 and he rent his $900 Patches and he ain't got none to eat. It's wrong. Patches, you had the GM up there for years, you never refused to pay us up. Otherwise we will get paid Saturday. It's out harder. And then things from happening on the port. These people during the COVID, they they're calling them out. They're working double shift on our patches because some of these people was quarantined. And through the situation, they couldn't get in full staff. And the manager sit them up there and allow that. They don't care. It's them them talking. And the minister and the chairman of the board, they should be ashamed of themselves to let that happen to this hard-working security. When we who am sleeping there up there take John away in the night time, me walk up there for years, me know we go. When I walk in ships, you know patches. From 6 o'clock call gone, it come like you Harlem somewhere far out to think it. Man, I know better than that. Patches, I want to congratulate the Attorney General. I think it back well. And according to the caller before Alice, the attorney needs to shake up, man. Stop play back on the back foot with the guy. People say you're incompetent. It's too big case where he tried to push himself in the government. You win, and the court embarrassed him twice. People said you're incompetent. That guy should be ashamed of himself. He should be ashamed of himself. But you know, I realized to the patches, you was like Gordon Greenwich and Fredericks when you was in the parliament, you know. You carry the fight to that vagabond. Have a good night, patches.
Have a good night as well. I just got some information though that all staff on quarantine at Scasper in fact got paid. So this was just sent to me by someone in authority there at Scasper. Let's go back to the lines. Call you live. Here's what. I'm going to take these few messages. What is really wrong with Sam? Reads this email. Every Friday afternoon, he on radio talking a heap of rubbish. He's saying that the cabinet is the biggest in the history of Parliament, and he couldn't even make it an issue. He then launched an unfounded attack on the Minister of Health, just like his mentor Dwyer, who was very critical of her when she was first appointed, stating that her portfolios were too burdensome and she wouldn't be able to manage them. But she has proved them wrong. However, I want to remind Sam that the minister is the daughter of his wife's brother, and it only proves his ignorance and gross insensitivity towards the feeling of others. As for the Dwyer, the less said, the better, reads that email. Shame, shame, shame. Patches, good night. The behavior of the former Prime Minister in the House today was shameful. He said he was concerned about constitutional rights. Ambassador, we had to go to the Privy Council when that tyrant suspended the House, called an election, and he is talking about right. Those three stooges walked out and acted like clowns. To me, the Speaker was too afraid of them. Patches, please come home. We need you as a voice of the people on the ground. We thank you for your human service. Reads that email. This other email reads, thank you, Minister, for setting the record straight in respect of the payments the T-Unity government has made to those persons who have applied for severance payment. The opposition came up with their usual lies and deception, articulating things that they have no knowledge of. I hope those propagandas at Freedom Radio, there should be propagandists at Freedom Radio who have been touting that workers can't get their money proved now lies and malicious, how lie and malicious they are. I am happy, however, that they can only fool one set of Labour supporters. It's now 20 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. We go back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your line.
Yeah, man. Good evening, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm peaceful. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, man. You know, I've been sitting and observing what's going on in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And for myself, they have a clause in the Constitution or whatever that says you cannot hold a foreign passport The moment that I can get that removed, I'll be in the Federation to run for politics myself. You know, a lot of people, they don't really know who I am, but I've been sitting and observing what's going on in St. Louis, and you know, I'm passionate about this stuff myself. And at 52 years old, I thought I would have had a chance to come back and contribute in terms of running for politics for an elected seat. And there's one thing that I think blocking me. And, you know, I've migrated from St. and Nevis out here to the United States. And, you know, I got a American passport. You know.
So that shouldn't block you. You can renounce citizenship.
In the Constitution, I would surely be back home to contribute to my own society. But for myself, bro, I ain't never giving up this American passport to come back there in that mess that's going on there in the Federation. The people in St. and Nevis is too divided. And the longer they keep that man named Douglas there, it's going to stay like this for a while. But, you know, when you're playing sports, you want to be on the winning team. Right now, as far as I can see, bro, the team unity is the winning team right now. Whoever wants to stay on the other side, let them stay on the other side. Because with this vaccine that's going on, it's only the 30% who has that vaccine hesitancy, they're going to be on that side. The country can move forward with 70% of the population vaccinated, and the vaccination process is picking up steam. The government is going to achieve that goal. Believe it, they're going to achieve it. And when the government do achieve it, then it's more power to them. St. and Nevis don't have no bad man there. It's a lot of talk going on in St. and Nevis. Too much people there talk too much. It's time for action. The young people, they got to rise up, man, and push some of these old politicians out the way. They're the ones, they got the nation captive. That's Sam Conda, Douglas, and Timothy Harris. Whatever they got between themselves is they got the whole place upside down. And the people is suffering, bro. The people is too divided. St. and Nevis people, you all got to get back together and be united like how you once were. Politicians is dividing the place and the people is falling for it. It's time for that stuff to stop, bro. It's time for St. and Nevis to get together like how we were back in the days. It's too much bullshit going on in the Federation. A lot of people, they just talk.
Yeah, watch your language, man. Watch your language.
And it's time for action, man. It's time for action. You know, you move that clause out the Constitution, because whether it's labor or unity, if you take that, if you give me the right to come home to run for election, yeah, whether a man got a foreign passport or not, I'm born in the Federation of St. and Nevis. I should have the right to run for politics in my own country. You can't tell an American they can't run for politics in their own country when they're born in America. Yes, still you all got these colonial ways down there. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter, because if one side got a passport from outside, the other side could get somebody to represent them too. You all remove that clause out of the Constitution, and I'm a cotton grown man.
Colo.
I will be home to run for my country.
Okay.
Passport or not, he still should have the right to come and run for his own country if he was born in the Federation. Somebody who was born in the Federation can run for their own country, but somebody else who was not born there can come in, whether they get citizenship by marriage or whatever, they could come in and run inside St. and Nevis and dominate you all. If a lot of foreign people moving there, the whole demographics in St. and Nevis is changing. And when them foreigners take over, you all are not going to like it. The government is making no provision for people to hold on to the land. And they're selling out the politicians in the whole country.
Okay.
Take back their country. The power is in the people's hands. The power is in the people's
Okay, Carl, I got you. You don't have to say the same thing over and over again. Thank you for your intervention. Yes, we don't need to repeat it, but what you're saying is not totally accurate. But again, I understand your passion as a cotton grown born man. But I've seen, I think, Alexis Jeffers renounced his citizenship. He's from, Gingerland, not Gingerland, Newcastle. Where was Alexis from? forgive me, I lost that. Lindsey Grant renounced, so too. Sean Richards. So, if you're so passionate and you're so patriotic, that's an option you have until that constitution is amended. It's very hardly likely that most constitutions are amended that easily. You see what happens. But now is an opportunity now with the 2/3 majority in the parliament. We had it before with an all 8. Let's see what will happen this time around. Caller, you're live. I thank you for holding. Yes, caller? Are you there, caller? Okay, it's 14 before the 10 o'clock hour. Remember that Straight Talk is heard every Friday, every Thursday, what am I saying, and every Monday from 8 until 10 p.m. You may have just joined me. We were discussing the sad state of affairs, the sad or the poor representation we had in fact in Parliament today, when such an important tool like a state of emergency to help us to address the outbreak from that COVID. Some 439 cases, just about, my maths are right, that's about 394? It's 394 cases since May the 19th. In just over 12 months, in about 40 months to be exact, we had 45 cases. In just 4 or 5 weeks, we had 394 cases. And the recommendation from the NAOC and the HEOC, the technical people, the COVID task force, that we need to control this community spread. And one such way was to introduce a state of emergency. That was done today. And what happened in the parliament? The tally of the votes went like this, believe it or not.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 1, how do you vote?
No, that they know your word when you're disrespecting the parliament.
You can do whatever you feel like.
Continue your vote.
Disrespect the parliament.
Abstain, okay. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 2, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 3, how do you vote? Aye. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 5, how do you vote?
You misspoke.
Sorry, apologies. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 4, how do you vote? Honourable Member for St. Christopher 5, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 6 has exited the Parliament. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 7.
Aye, loudly so.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 8.
Aye.
Nevis, Honourable Member for Nevis 9, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for Nevis 10, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for Honourable Attorney General, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Senator Wendy Phipps, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Senator Dr. Bernice Elizabeth, how do you vote?
Aye.
Oh. Honourable Member Opposition Senator Dr. Clark has exited the Parliament as well. So we have.
Aye.
Okay. Oh, so we have 12 ayes, Honourable Speaker, 1 abstention, and 2 members were absent when the division was done.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
12 ayes, 1 abstention, and 2 exited the Parliament were afraid to register the opposition. That's the 2 representatives from St. Paul's. You know who they are. The 1 member that abstained was the member from constituency number 1. And that was a sad day for the people of East Bastia. You elected a man to represent you. He failed to exercise his vote in the parliament, and he walked out of the parliament. If that is what you want, then only time will tell. But through it all, my family, through it all, my people, we cannot lose sight of the fact that the people are suffering. The people are looking for assistance. The country is in crisis. People have no money, no food, but there is hope. There's hope because we understand that the team unity administration are now considering another stimulus package. In fact, the team unity administration has socially intervened through the Ministry of Social and Community Development. Yes, you have a caring government, you have a caring leader who is in the right place at the right time. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you alive.
Mr. Liburd, me again.
Yes, caller.
You could hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
The lady is a teacher still?
Which lady?
What was in the House Assembly?
That I know, yes.
That's how she just teach the children? You were sounding terrible. Okay, good night.
Okay, good night. Yes, the ladies did represent well. The lady on the opposition benches has poise, has confidence, but she has to put aside her Douglasism, if that's a word I could use. She has to choose a different role model if she wants to get far. I'm sure Denzel Douglas, that role model, is not a good one. Because I don't know how many of us remember the last time we had an emergency sitting of Parliament. I stand to be corrected, but I think it was on January the 16th, 2015. How many of us remember that session in Parliament in January 2016, I think it was. January 2016, the Parliament met in emergency session, and this is how part of it transpired.
Go ahead, member for sentence number 6.
I rise to make the motion that the debate on this resolution before this Parliament be brought to an end, and that this matter be put for voting.
That has to be the most outrageous. Question is that this resolution will be approved as read. Those in favor? Against?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, have it.
Mr. Speaker, you are...
That's how they operated back then. In 2015, the RAM resolution to the Parliament. Remember as well, this is how that emergency session on January 16, 2015 ended. This is how it ended.
Shame and scandal! Where's the officer? Officer, can you get this man out of the precincts of Parliament, please? I don't want him nowhere near me. Thank you.
That's Parliament. That's Parliament.
And that was an emergency sitting of the National Assembly held at the National Assembly Chambers, Government Headquarters. 10 minutes through the ZZ Radio now, 13 minutes moving on past the hour of 6 o'clock. Just got to let you know, coming up here at 6:30.
Way back in January the 16th, 2015. And that's one of the reasons why the then Prime Minister is on the other side of the aisles of Parliament as the leader of the opposition. He had an emergency session of Parliament, and that's what happened. But today, we saw what transpired in the Parliament, And as well, you saw how that leader behaved. He was unpatriotic. Words can express how he behaved.
Instead, it has sought to sow seeds of doubt and confusion in the community. Its attitude and actions have either intentionally or unintentionally given comfort to the anti-vaxxers in our community. They have provided a home for conspiracy theorists and anti-vaxxers. Through their words and their actions, they are allowing people to think it is okay not to be vaccinated, for the keeping us in COVID-19's grip. And this is unfortunate, and this is so wrong, and they must stop that behavior now. Our people deserve better. Rather than put St. Kitts and Nevis first, they put themselves and their failing political careers first. Mr. Speaker, we on this side of the House saw a global pandemic that needed strong measures to be taken to protect the lives of our people. Those opposite us saw a political game to be played for political advantage.
For political advantage, instead of coming on board with the life first strategy of the Team Unity administration.
For health reasons, for the protection of our people, we need the tool of the state of emergency. That should things go awry, we can very quickly respond to the perils that are there and protect our people. Because the most fundamental duty of the government, is to protect its people.
Protect its people. And that's what this sitting, emergency sitting of Parliament sought to do, to get a fundamental tool to wit a state of emergency to give the government the opportunity to react to this dreadful virus in this war. I'll perhaps take one more call, or if you guide yourselves by the rule of brevity, I'll be able to get in two more calls before I wrap for this evening's program. I'll take this call and perhaps make it my penultimate call for the night. Are you there? Caller, you're live. Okay, but here's what. I think I'm gonna call that a night tonight. For those who joined us late, we looked at the sad state of affairs displayed in the Parliament by those opposite today. Those who listened to the emergency sitting of Parliament in St. Kitts today, to me, it was saddening. And I was not saddened by the behavior of the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, the leader of Her Majesty's opposition, because that's how we have come to know what to expect of this 32-year-old parliamentarian who was, it was described, he turned the very parliament in which he served for 32 years, he turned it into an useless instrument. And those were not my words. Those were the words of a former a former head of the Eastern Caribbean High Court, Brian Allen, who had this to say about the performance of Douglas some years ago. Allen had this to say about the way Douglas turned the Parliament in terms of the lack of good governance even within the Parliament, trying to find that soundbite as I speak to you. But yes, he turned the Parliament into a useless instrument. So nothing to surprise any one of us. You remember his own performance in that emergency meeting we had. But today, this is what transpired for those who do not or did not hear, those who may have joined the program late. This resolution was passed.
15% shift in support to our new candidate, Ambassador Kevin Williams. The short point is that in matters of national crisis, to wit, a health pandemic, sensible people will not tolerate the same old political partisan approach.
Not at all. This resolution, as I said, was passed.
Thank you. Thank you, the Honorable Mover of the resolution dealing with this matter of an extension to the state of emergency. The resolution was read in full to the Parliament earlier today, and so I will simply put the question, but in doing so I will simply read into the records the prayer of the resolution, that is the resolution itself, which states, "Now therefore be it hereby resolved by this National Assembly that it is necessary to extend the state of emergency up to the 31st day of December 2021, to take effect from the 7th day of July 2021 to combat the threat of the COVID-19 virus to the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis." Those in favor of that resolution?
And yes, that tally of votes went like this today in the Parliament. And this is what saddened me most, though.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 1, how do you vote?
Now that they know you what, man, you're disrespecting the Parliament.
You can do whatever you feel like.
Continue to vote.
Disrespect the Parliament.
Abstain, okay.
Abstain.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 2, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 3, how do you vote? Aye. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 5, how do you vote?
You missed 4.
Sorry, apologies. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 4, how do you vote? Honourable Member for St. Christopher 5, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 6 has exited the Parliament. Honourable Member for St. Christopher 7.
Aye, loudly so.
Honourable Member for St. Christopher 8.
Aye.
Nevis, Honourable Member for Nevis 9, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for Nevis 10, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Member for Honourable Attorney General, how do you vote?
Aye.
Honourable Senator Wendy Phipps, how do you vote? Aye. Honourable Senator Dr. Bernice Elizabeth, how do you vote? Aye. Honourable Member Opposition Senator Dr. Clark has exited the Parliament as well. So we have...
Aye.
Okay. Oh, So we have 12 ayes, Honorable Speaker, 1 abstention, and 2 members were absent when the division was done.
12 ayes, 2 absent, 1 abstention. Believe it or not, that abstention came from the misrepresentative of constituency number 1, who thought it best to abstain. And yes, it is claimed that he's fully vaccinated, but he don't want people to be protected. That's the way we're going to end it tonight, my Stray Dog family. That's my story, and I'm locked into it. You know me, and I know you. I'm going to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I'm going to thank you, the many listeners, by whichever media or whichever platform, YouTube, Facebook, whichever platform. And remember, you can go to the Ian Patches Liburd page. You'll find that YouTube Connect for those who may still not be connecting via that platform. Those who send emails, I thank you. Those who called and those who could not get in for some reason or other, I do apologize for that. Those who listen to ZIZ Radio 96.5 on the FM dial, remember, all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and I say a big, big thank you. We can't have a Straight Talk without Albert Bradley as well on the consoles. And in the back room, David Milkerson and John James, they too make Straight Talk. So until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, do the best for the rest of tonight. Saying hi to Jasmine, you're locked down, no more that good delicacy. But those, let's stay safe, let's be good to each other, let's encourage all to get vaccinated. We have 2 more days, tomorrow and Wednesday, to get vaccinated. Try to protect yourself and protect others. We are not safe if all of us are not vaccinated. Everybody has to be safe. My Stray Dog family, until we connect on Thursday, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday, be good to all whom you meet. You know me, and I know you. Bye-bye.